And welcome back. We are commencing our first segment of the conversations we're having this morning, and that is, of course, the conversation on diverse abilities. We have with us on the couch this morning our good friends from BAPDA, the Belize Association for Persons with Diverse Ability. We have the manager for NARCIE, Erlette Thomas. Good morning. In the middle is Roxanne Marin. She's the president of BAPDA.
Morning.
Good morning. And on the far end is Felicia Garbutt. She's a teacher at Stella Primary School. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
How do we kick off the week in terms of celebrating persons with diverse abilities?
Well, as usual, the first thing we need to do is to give God thanks. And so we are starting off with a church service at Trinity, at the roundabout by Fabers Road. Right there, we're having our service this year.
All right. So what's the schedule of events thereafter?
On Monday, we have two separate events, and we kind of have a little clash there, but we'll see how we work it out. On Monday, we have a conference. The conference is Inclusive Education, Embracing Diversity. And that conference will be, NARCIE is holding that conference, and we're inviting teachers from around the country, and we're looking at teachers who aren't usually invited at our workshops and our conference. We're trying to broaden our horizon and invite teachers who are in the rural areas and those who are not really part of our system, so that we can actually train them and, you know, so that they learn more about children with special needs in the inclusive setting. Because our aim is to have children more in the inclusive setting than to put them at Stella Maris. They are only placed at Stella Maris if their behavior or their academic achievement cannot reach that of those in a regular classroom setting.
So let's stick up in there and go back a bit. I can recall a number of years ago where persons, or in this case children with diverse abilities, were automatically, or it seemed that way.
It
seemed that way, that they were automatically sent off to Stella Maris, as opposed to this sense of inclusion where they can coexist in the same classroom setting as other persons who are, you know, either properly fit, for want of a better description.
Well, for us to make our decision, there is an assessment that is done. And based on the assessment, then we make a decision, or we can only make recommendation to the parents that you can send your child to Stella Maris, or you can put them in the regular classroom setting. But sometimes it doesn't work out, and then we have to revert to sending them to Stella Maris.
And so I want to add to that. Since the convention for the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities was signed and ratified in 2011, there have been strategic steps made with inclusion of children into the regular school settings.
Nice.
So what I understand is that you're saying that the ideal situation is that children with special needs should be integrated into any of the already existing schools across the country.
Well, Stella Maris have its place. So,
and Stella Maris is...
It depends on the level. You have mild, moderate, and severe disability. So it all depends on the level of disability and the type of disability. Because, for example, we have students who are deaf. Those who are deaf, if you don't have the communication, then you know you're keeping back the students. And so those who are deaf and live in Belize City, we'd rather send them to Stella Maris School, because they learn their language there and they're able to communicate there. They fit better. We try to find the most enabling environment, and they fit better at Stella Maris. You have some children with autism who can cope in the regular school system, and so they go to the regular school system. But you have those who are severe with autism who cannot be in the regular school system.
Who don't communicate.
So we have to put them at Stella Maris. We have some students who we might need to turn, who you might need to take to the bathroom, who the regular school system will not accept them. And that is how we make our decision.
So it's more the severe cases that would go there. Now, I want to step back a bit, because I think when we talk about special needs in general, people only imagine, or the first image that comes to mind is exactly the case, the the children with severe issues that are at Stella Maris. But there is a range. Can you talk about what you have been seeing? You've been at NARCIE for quite a while now, and what people should know is that you offer assessments to help, especially with intellectual disabilities, to help parents categorize whether there's an issue and what type of issue it is, and also how to help them learn.
Okay, we have like 13 different service categories.
Yeah.
And as you rightly mentioned, those with intellectual disability might not be overt, unless you're looking at some children with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
But you have those who their IQ is just very low, and so they cannot function in the regular school system. And then you have those who might have spina bifida. You are seeing them, they're sitting down and they look normal. You don't think anything is wrong with them. They speak, they say what they have to say, they can communicate well, but they cannot control their bowels. And so the parent would have to come in and take care of them. You have to teach them reading method and all of those things. So that is what we looked at. NARCIE does the assessment, and based on the assessment, we make the recommendation, and the parent make the final decision. I can tell you your child belongs at Stella Maris or should be. That is the most enabling environment. But if you say no and you want your child to go to a regular school, then we also help you with that.
Okay.
Can we say perhaps it's because of a certain stigma that was also attached to Stella Maris that allows, or I shouldn't say allow, that sort of puts parents in a corner where they would prefer that their child or their children go to a normal school, excuse me, as opposed to going to Stella Maris, notwithstanding what the evaluation says?
A lot of parents or individuals that is in the wider community do not know what happens at Stella Maris. Just from the onset here in Stella Maris, oh, this stigma exists.
Yeah.
Feel like categorized as dumb, or my child not dumb for the God of Stella Maris and stuff like that. And because of that stigma, people feed off that stigma, and it goes beyond, and that is beyond our control. They don't know what is happening behind the gates of Stella Maris. Wonderful things have been happening there since I have started in 2010 and previous years. But it's just for the wider community, the wider society to know what is happening, and in order to remove that stigma.
Yeah.
Okay, now back to Disability Awareness Week.
Yes.
Also on Monday, we'll also have
the launch of BAPDA National Disability ID cards. That's going to be happening Monday, the 2nd December, Corner Vernon and Tibru Street, where we host BAPDA's office. It starts at 10 a.m. We're inviting not only BAPDA members, but also different sponsors, the different ministries or definitely our partners. Thereafter, we march over to the cemetery, where we'll be placing a wreath on Honorable Philip Colson's grave, he being the icon for disabilities that started in 1985. So that is BAPDA's big activity. We've been working on these ID cards for the last 3 years, and we've finally gotten to the point that, hey, it's happening.
What's the purpose of the ID card, and what does it seek to do for members who are in possession of that card?
Well, first and foremost is to even identify our population. We don't have statistics so much, and so this is an invitation for especially organizations in the districts that we may not have that reach to come and incorporate. And keep in mind, disabilities is not just physical, it's cognitive, it's intellectual. When you get to an early age, there are certain physical aspects, probably several, multiple. And so we definitely have different organizations that has gotten the ID cards along with us. Stella Maris definitely being the first partner with BAPDA. And so additionally,
the students will be getting cards?
Yes.
Okay.
They've been a part of BAPDA's membership. One of the challenges when I came on with BAPDA that we had observed, there are several services, like we said, when the convention was signed, several things has been done for children. Awesome. However, when they reach the 16 years, these services are not continuous. And so they come to BAPDA, and BAPDA is the umbrella organization. We were a key organization motivating behind and getting the United Nations Convention signed and ratified in Belize. And so since then, all these amazing other organizations have merged However, we are still advocacy. We don't do services.
Yeah.
The most services that we do offer is with international partners that isn't even offered within the country for our population.
Yeah.
So it's important that, yes, we get the ID cards, not only for documentation purposes and statistical purposes. In the year of 2019, we have had several incidences with our membership with autism and police interaction. And so when you look at somebody with autism, you might not realize that there is a challenge. And so simple processing of that individual is critical in not aggravating the situation. And so situations like those, there's also the benefit of having the ID card when you have a hidden disability. In my case, prime example, you look at some people and you don't know what is wrong with them. That is not their responsibility to explain every time. So this gives even our membership a little relief in certain aspects of everyday life. And this is everyday life. Me going into a line is everyday life. People might have, and so keep in mind that we recently did a front of the line campaign with National Council of Aging for persons with disabilities, elderly persons, pregnant women, and adults with children under 2 years. And this is to expand the services, not just to put up a sign, which is wonderful, and say that we offer it, and to have the line, but also to have things like chairs or to have an accessible area for persons that are unable to walk and may have a wheelchair. So the ID card is very essential.
So you said about 300 cards will be distributed?
Yes.
Okay, across the country?
Yes.
Now, who have you worked with to have the card recognized?
So far, Chamber of Commerce primarily,
Nice.
reaching into the business houses then for them to understand, not just to put in these features, but to educate their employees. Because it's wonderful to have it, and if the employees are not following through, then it's not as effective.
I gather the second direction. Sorry, go ahead.
Just the police or the hospitals? Because that's when I was thinking, if I have an 18-year-old autistic child who may appear, exactly as you said, completely normal to everyone else, but won't be able to communicate or process normally, they could at least have something to...
I agree. We have a 12 months phase that we will implement throughout the country. And so reaching out to different businesses, reaching out to the health organizations, we have started it, but we haven't confirmed to see what is going to be the scope of how they... Keep in mind, like things like hospitals, some persons that would suffer a stroke, they're not going to be incapable for the rest of their life. So they're not necessarily entitled to a card. However, they may be entitled to certain services in the time that they are suffering this stroke.
There's
So,
some temporary
correct.
disability.
There's so like
you have your foot broken, but you no longer have a disability.
Correct.
So that's just one day. That's Monday, right?
That's just Monday. That's just Monday.
The conference.
And we're talking about next week.
And then we have
conference.
Tuesday too. Tuesday we'll also have the conference. The conference continues Monday and Tuesday. And we can't forget Inspiration Center. They're not here being represented this morning, but they're also a part of this entire planning of the week. On Wednesday, they will have the launch of their calendar, right? And that is very important because what they do, they use children with disability to do the drawings to help to make up this calendar. And so that was an initiative of our First Lady, Envoy for Women and Children. And so during Disability Week, every year they launch that calendar.
And then on Thursday?
Then on Thursday is the big parade, the big rally that we do through the streets. It starts at 9 a.m. at Memorial Park with a short ceremony that is being done mainly by individuals living with a disability. The program is scheduled for half an hour, and from there we proceed with a parade. It starts right at Memorial Park, North Front Street, onto Albert Street, and it ends at Yabra, where we will have a small little get-together with the participants.
Okay.
And then on Friday, we will have Special Olympics. We have all the children from around the country with intellectual disability. They'll come together and participate in games, and we'll have them, every single body, whether you win or not, you will get a ribbon. For those first and second and third, we'll get a, the others will get a ribbon, they will get a medal.
Medal. Okay.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. And that is very, very important too, because we don't only want to concentrate on the intellectual ability of children, but we also want to look at the health aspect of it. And for you to participate in your own sports, that's health. And at the games, we usually have our medical personnel, and we have dentists who are there to help them to understand their health. And these are doctors who have been trained and who have been working with us for a while. So that too is extremely important.
And so, you know, I thought that was such an important, but we had the police department on to talk about the law enforcement torch run, which will culminate in Belize City on that Friday for the National Games. But, you know, Erlette, maybe you could shed some, sorry, Felicia, can you shed some light for us? Because you work with the kids there, and I think that very often we talk about children with disabilities or special needs or whichever term people choose to use. But what you're really saying is that they have a capacity to be great at something, and you're working with them directly, teaching them skills. What do you think that the wider public fails to understand about these children?
That these children, they are regular human beings. They can accomplish milestones just at a different pace than myself.
Yeah.
For example, we implemented skills at our school, woodwork, food prep, and sewing. And I am the sewing teacher. I have a set of students. They love it. And the stuff that they create.
Yeah.
If people want to know that the stuff that they take out there to sell, because some of the products they do take out, and some of the business community do have them to sell the products, and it is something amazing that they are doing.
Yeah.
It's just that they do it at a different pace, at a slower pace, but they get it done.
Yeah.
Whether it's a month, 2 months, they get the job done, they get the task done. So it's, to me, they are regular just like anyone else.
And what do you see in the kids when they complete their tasks?
What do I see?
What's their reaction?
Pride and joy.
Pride. I'm so happy if it's something simple, like even if I am teaching in the classroom and it's something that they're unbutton, zip, unzip, buckle their belt at the end of the school year, at the end of the term, it's something great that they have accomplished, because at the beginning they couldn't do it. So it's amazing and rewarding at the end of the term, the week, the year, when these students accomplishes these simple tasks.
Yeah.
It's just that at their own pace they do it.
She has a student that is a member, that attends meeting. They're all members, but she attends meeting, and she's very active in BAPDA's activities. And they had cultural day, and she sewed her own outfit.
Oh.
I saw her coming down the street with the basket, and she's glowing, and what's going on? And she's like, sewed her own outfit, headpiece,
Everything.
cultural.
She displayed the Creole culture because we had a cultural showcase, and she displayed the Creole culture, and she presented her outfit that she did herself within 2 weeks. She did it.
I think we have to, the public have to realize that our students can. Everybody can.
Yeah.
And so we need to push that. And I think sometimes people don't really understand if they are not a part and parcel of this entire thing. Some parents don't understand why should a child be included, because they think, okay, if that child is not speaking well, my child will revert to not speaking too. And because of some of the myths out there, we have a little problem with some parents accepting children with special needs into the regular classroom system. And so we continuously, as a body, Inspiration Center, NARCIE, Stella, Marin, BCVI, everybody, we continue to advocate, and we continue, it's like we're sensitizing every single year.
Yeah.
But that is what we need to do to get people to understand that we have a population out there who need us to be out there for them. Then we have to continue to do it.
And we still don't have data, right, in terms of numbers of children, adults. What do we have available?
Some data.
We have some data.
We have some data. We have data of children who are our clients.
Okay.
If they are our clients, and that is only
if the parent
primary
took
school
them
age.
to ministry
only
education.
primary school age, if the parent took them. But we have been doing some kind of intersectoral, and then we have human development. We have the Ministry of Education, who, if they go out and they find children with special needs, they would come and tell us that, okay, this child needs an assessment, and if we go out and we find children who need to be diagnosed, then we will take them to the doctor. And so we have been building some kind of information system.
Yeah.
And then now with the Ministry of Education, with Open EMIS, we can enter the disability and we can enter some of the comments, some of the things that we have been doing with the students, and so we're building a database. But we only have for those who have reported and for those in the system. If you're out of the system, then you're just
and we
not
have
counted.
so many undocumented.
I was going to ask, because once upon a time, and I hope it's not still the case, where the parents used to just keep them locked up at home,
We still have
out
a
of
few.
shame.
Unfortunately, that is still a reality in some homes. Unfortunately.
Because of that stigma, my child won't attend. I don't want my child to attend Stella Maris.
And when we say not only Stella Maris, but we have, as I said, that we want the child to go to the most enabling environment. And so in the district there is no Stella Maris.
Yeah.
So the child will be in an inclusive setting if the parents choose to send that child to school. So what we have done on the ministry Ministry of Education, what we have done is to create special education classroom within the schools.
Okay.
And so if you go to Toledo and you have a child with autism or a child with Down syndrome or a child who is deaf, you have Punta Gorda Methodist that will accept your child, and there's a classroom. You have Forest Home Methodist that will accept.
Yeah.
If you go to Dangriga, then you'll find Holy Ghost. If you go to Cayo, you will find Santa Elena, and then you have United Evergreen and Garden City, all in the Cayo district. In Belize City, we don't have any because we have Stella Maris.
Yeah.
And then we have some schools like St. Joseph who would accept students who are blind.
Yeah.
We have school like St. Ignatius who works with children with autism.
Yeah.
We have schools like Trinity Methodist and St. John's, and those are just a few.
Nazarenes, yeah.
Nazarene accept those who are deaf.
Yeah.
We have two interpreters there,
Yeah.
and 2 students in Fort Farm.
Yeah.
And so we have schools who we work with, and those are the schools that we try to make little deals with to take in our children. For example, you have a child who is deaf. The child already does not understand English, and you have to learn the child language, so the child cannot take Spanish. And so those are some of the accommodations that we'll make with the students.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
You're right.
And then we have students at Orange Walk Technical. We have 3 students at Orange Walk Technical.
Yeah.
They're all deaf, and the school is making accommodation to work with them. So it's not only in Belize City. In Corozal, we have Mary Hill, we have Shonosh, and we have San Narciso.
And you have the Kaya School for
the
deaf.
deaf. And then in a school that does inclusion a lot is St. Peter's Anglican School. They have their classrooms, and within the classroom, they would pull out the child for a few minutes. They go to the center, they do to the resource center, they do a little work, they go back to the classroom, and those who are more severe are in the special education classroom. So things have been happening, maybe not as fast as it should be, but we're getting there eventually.
You said something so important, and that's where I wanted to go, because we are improving in terms of how we are able to recognize that children have special needs, that some can be integrated into regular schools. And you said that sometimes it's the parents of the other children who are having a challenge accepting inclusive education. As we move up, though, it seems to be becoming a more of a challenge. So you have to get high schools on board. What about junior colleges or universities? And this is where I know, Roxanne, we've talked about it. After the children leave Stella Maris, after they come out of an inclusive school or a special needs setting at primary level, maybe even secondary level, what's available for the young adults?
Well, just stealing a little bit of Stella Maris, but there is a transition plan that we work with some students, especially those that go to Stella Maris. So this transition plan should start at age 12.
Yeah.
You look at the child, you look at what the child potential is, and you try the child the first year. So you might take the child to a business place. You believe that the child is interested in mechanic. That is what the child said, and that is what you were working towards. And the child went to the mechanic shop and didn't like it. And then the child would say, okay, I prefer barbering. Then we'll take the child to the barber shop. The child practices there. And if the child is able to cope there, sometimes there are different things that can happen. The barber would usually keep the child. The child would go into IT vet or skills training or Gateway Youth Center and try to build on that skill. But those are most of our children who are in Belize City. We don't have the business places in some of the districts to do that.
And you find businesses cooperating and taking in students?
They're more receptive.
Okay. Okay. Because children with disabilities will become adults with disabilities. And so we need to foster the environment.
And of course, BAPDA's future plan, we are looking for our own land. We're setting up all these wonderful things happening. BAPDA has now outgrown the space that we rent inside the Mental Health Resource Center. And so our dream and our plan that will come into effect soon, we're looking for a land. BAPDA has been doing amazing things for the last 15 or so years on its own. And so we have to start putting responsibility where it should be done at state level. And so we've been reaching out, and I'm planting the seed right here, right now. There's been interaction made to say, we're going to get this land. There have been several situations that land has been put on the table, something happened, we didn't get it, space was to be allotted to us, we didn't get it, it's all water under the bridge. At this point, for us to grow as an organization for persons with disabilities, we need places like independent living for persons with disabilities. It's horrific that persons with special needs that are employed are being violated primarily by their family members. And so they don't want to press charges. However, these are criminal acts being done to you, and because of your capacity, you're not, independent living is a must for Belize to go when it comes to persons with disabilities that are employed. When it comes to having skill sets, these are things that must be set in place for children when they have the future. We can't be having all these wonderful services and then we expect them to still be a productive citizen and not giving them those tools.
And just the long-term effects, because that's the biggest thing. If a child has a skill and has the capacity but can't make any money from it, then you're actually adding on an extra mouth to feed for that family until...
And Belize, and this is why I say about Belizeans, families where have persons with such special needs, it's amazing what they do for the entire lifespan of a person with special needs. We might not even... It's not customary for us to be, kind, apparently, the younger generation now. So imagine the children that will be born that have these needs to be met, and we not have compassionate persons to attend to them. What happened today? At the end of the day, persons with such special needs deserve dignity and respect like everybody else.
That's right.
Regardless of what my situation may be,
That's right.
you have no right to jeer at me, to taunt me, to point at me, and to treat me less of a human. That is the first and foremost when it comes to persons with special needs. And so, in this population right now, it's estimated that 15% of your population has special needs. That would be like 70,000 Belizeans. We have less than 1,000 documented. And so there's a grave need for us to know where they are, know what we need to do for them, and see simple things like social security benefits. That is a conversation that needs to be had, that was being had several years ago, but was never followed upon. However, everyday living is dependent on family members for everything, for health, for food, for live. So it's important that we know where our people are, that we make provisions for them for the future. This is not a
So if I'm watching and I have a child, or even, they might be an adult now, where do I go? Where do I register them so that they're in the system?
If it's a child, then you go to NARCIE.
Okay.
If it's an adult, we deal with school age from 5 to 14.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that we won't assist if you have a child 3 years old at the preschool level. As long as the preschool would call, then we would visit and we do that. But once it's out of school age, then you go to BAPDA.
And keep in mind, we do referrals. We're an advocacy and referral organization. And so persons with special needs, we refer them primarily into the government system, women's department. They have certain benefits that are offered to persons with special needs.
Yeah.
At the end of this conversation, when we move from here, we want to know that regardless if you're a child, if you're an adult, it's the same treatment.
Yeah.
We have, it's awesome to have a child that is disfigured, that you put on a calendar and or whatever, and that's the poster child. And then when that child becomes older, they're pushed to the back.
They're forgotten.
Yeah.
That's always
The
my
continuity
concern.
is something that we're lacking and that we need to build on. And so just before I go, I just want to say Aloe Vera Community Neighborhood Watch is having their cleanup this weekend, Saturday. We start at 7 o'clock. We're working on Aloe Vera Street, Tibrou Street, Estella Medicine, Mango Lane, and Violet Lane. And so I invite the neighbors and the residents to come out and clean out on the yard for Christmas, bring out all the dirt. We have Red Cross and neighborhood police one
Only because it's a good cause, we'll leave you with that free commercial.
But when it comes to BAPDA ID cards, the launch is going to be the Monday, 2nd December, 10 a.m. We have the pastor route Pipersburg.
Do we know what it's going to look like? So for anybody who haven't approached yet, that they can see it and know that this is the, like, how is it official?
Yes, it should be on the, yes.
Yeah.
That is what the BAPDA ID card looks like. And so
that's what it's going to look like. So even if you've not been in contact with BAPDA, if a person presents with it, that's what you can expect to see.
And my phone number at the, I'm so sorry, at the organization is 631-0724. That is the number for BAPDA. You can contact us, and we'll make arrangements if you are unable to come and take your picture at our location. We have our outreach program also.
And Felicia, on behalf of your lovely students, please tell us, what would you like for people to do differently or think differently in terms of how we view children with special needs?
Just to accept them for who they are, regardless of their disability. They can, like I said before, they can do wonders. Just accept them within the business community, the health department, wherever these students go.
In your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood, parents, everyone, don't taunt them. Because they're individuals just like us.
They're feelings,
so
absolutely.
Just to accept them and respect them.
All right. And so all the activities kick off next week.
This Sunday,
this Sunday.
Trinity Assembly.
Right through to the 5th with the National Games here in Belize City.
Yes.
True to the 6th.
All right. Anything else?
One other thing I'd like to add, the Ministry of Education, we are having a launch on Thursday, though? No. Yeah, we're having a launch where we will have 36 students who will be doing their masters in special education through the University of the West Indies. And I think that is very important because we have teachers out there who they always say, well, I don't know how to do that. We need training, we need this, we need that. And so we're offering this special education, and it's sponsored half. The Ministry of Education is paying half and the students paying half. So we'll have a batch of 36 teachers who will be trained in special education very soon.
I want to add though, the teachers at Stella Maris are trained in dealing with children with special needs. And so they go an extra 10 miles. And I want to say applaud and thank you to the teachers at Stella Maris, because they do outstanding and amazing job.
And you know, because the kids love them so much every time you go there.
Oh my goodness.
But you know, we appreciate you coming in, and we appreciate you. This is an important reminder, not just that activities are coming up, but that there is this section of the population that we have to keep on thinking about and have to keep on ensuring that we are being as inclusive as possible from the school level right through to the wider society. So thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Disability Week this year is being planned by Stella Maris, NARCIE, BAPDA, Inspiration Center.
Didn't even say it.
And the theme, the future is accessible.
All right. And with that, we'll close off this segment. We're going to shift gears to talk with representatives of Sacred Heart Junior College. So please stay tuned.